Stephen Strange.
The Illuminati will see you now.
We will see what kind of Doctor Strange you are.
Welcome back, everyone. This will be my brand new Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness X-Men video. I'll also break down the CinemaCon footage that they showed off yesterday when Kevin Feige also announced that they're planning the next 10 years of Marvel movies right now. That's right, the next 10 years of your life are being mapped out. That's like a whole other saga after the Infinity Saga, like Secret Wars saga.
Mild shock.
There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs here. Everybody is playing the X-Men theme song in their head while they're watching this. So if you're brand new to the channel, we're doing a giveaway for IMAX tickets. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave your favorite moment from the trailers on the video. The movie's coming out next week, so all my really big Easter egg videos for the entire movie, my post-credit scene videos, will start posting after the movie comes out. My review video with no spoilers will post on Tuesday when we're allowed to post that. But starting with the big stuff first here, there's new footage of Professor X in his X-Men the Animated Series looking yellow floaty chair. It doesn't mean he's the same Professor X from that animated universe, even though everybody's thinking that in their head, like, oh my god, it's just like the animated series. It's just meant to be a sly wink at that because these are all multiverse variants of versions from a bunch of big deep cuts from the comics and from the Marvel movies. And in the case of Captain Carter, a big deep cut for the What If series. Don't worry, I'll explain her too because we also get new footage with Captain Carter. This version of Patrick Stewart's Professor X is meant to be from a different live-action universe where things are similar to what's happening in the X-Men the Animated Series universe. Like, they all use the classic costumes from the comics. Like, I love using the clips of Wolverine. Like, there's Wolverine versus Thanos during Infinity War with him just getting snapped over and over again. There's also the deleted scene from the Wolverine movie where he gets his comic book accurate yellow and black suit. You have to imagine in this alternate universe where this version of Professor X comes from, he wears a costume that looks like that. The way that Hugh Jackman explained the Wolverine costume that he wore in all the different X-Men movies that he starred in, the Fox Marvel movies, is that originally when Bryan Singer did those X-Men movies, he and a lot of the Fox people were dead set against actually doing things exactly like the comics, making them all wear the comic book accurate costumes. They even have a line in that first X-Men movie where they make fun of the classic costumes.
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
Hugh Jackman even said that Bryan Singer banned comics on the set of that movie, and Kevin Feige had to go sneak comics around to a bunch of different people to give them insight into their characters. It wasn't until he was hired to be president of Marvel Studios later that people actually started listening to him. But if you wonder why you never actually saw Wolverine in any of those Fox Marvel movies wearing a costume like that, like you saw in the deleted scene, is because the people that controlled those movies didn't want to put him in it. When this version of Professor X in the trailer says, let's see what kind of Doctor Strange you are to our MCU Doctor Strange, that just means the Illuminati are wary about the evil Doctor Strange variants like Sinister Strange or like Doctor Strange Supreme from the What If series. Versions that go off the rails and become crazy powerful and become this huge threat to the multiverse. They don't know anything about our MCU Doctor Strange yet, so they're just treating him in a very cautious way. They are actually making new episodes of the real X-Men the Animated Series. It's called X-Men 97. I've done a couple videos about it before. The episodes will pick up after the ending of the original X-Men the Animated Series episodes that you remember watching way back in the 90s. So it'll be like them just continuing the story after a really, really long hiatus. Those will be coming to Disney Plus next year. And fun fact, one of the reasons why they did X-Men 2000 back in the day was because of the popularity of the animated series. That's why they were viewed as being more commercially viable than some of the other Marvel characters that they had access to at the time. There's brand new footage of Captain Carter, like I said, played by Haley Atwell. If that wasn't clear, she is Captain Carter. So it's live-action Haley Atwell coming back from Avengers Endgame to do this, but she also came back to play the version during What If as well. So technically she has already come back to the MCU in a way. Her Captain America shield is painted to look exactly like the one from What If, with the British flag instead of the American flag. Her costume looks like the Captain Britain costume because she is a British version of Captain America. But in the comics, Brian Braddock, the actual Captain Britain, has a very different magical King Arthur-style origin story, which sort of ties in with what happened in the Eternals movie in Camelot, and the Black Knight character, so we'll see if we see an MCU version of Captain Britain at some point. They already mentioned him during Avengers Endgame, they mentioned an Agent Braddock, so there is a Captain Britain somewhere in the timeline of the MCU, somewhere. She has a jetpack device on her back, and she's fighting a version of the Scarlet Witch variant who's basically just mowing through all the multiverse Illuminati, destroying every little piece of their base here as possible. But if it weren't clear, this version of Captain Carter is not the exact same version from the What If series. The producers explained why so many of the characters are based on the What If characters, but not meant to be the exact same What If characters. There's also a bunch of brand new footage of this Captain Marvel variant, which is very HD, very crisp, and clearly looks like Maria Rambeau from another universe. It's not their Iron Man variant, even though a variant of Iron Man would be working with them. I've done a couple Iron Man videos recently. That's talking about like a completely different character. I think a lot of people just see Iron Man on videos and they think people are talking about this. The Illuminati's version of Iron Man would be the person who was responsible for the Iron Legion, the Ultron-looking robots, because that's obviously where they came from during Avengers Age of Ultron. The Maria Rambeau Captain Marvel variant is just from a universe where on the day that Captain Marvel got her powers, she was a test pilot flying the Tesseract ship, and that's when she got into the accident and became Captain Marvel. It just happened to be Maria Rambeau that day because she's a test pilot just like Carol Danvers was. The reason why they're doing this Maria Rambeau Captain Marvel variant is because it's a deep cut from the actual Marvel comics, because originally Monica Rambeau called herself Captain Marvel long before, like many years before Carol Danvers ever called herself Captain Marvel. So they're just winking at that version even though it's Maria Rambeau instead of actual Monica Rambeau. Then there's a new scene of MCU Scarlet Witch destroying all the skeletal aspects of the Marvel Zombies version of Defender Strange later in the movie at the Darkhold Temple, looking all pissed off, and doing it just as quickly as Thanos got rid of all Doctor Strange's copies when he was doing the same spell during Avengers Infinity War, just splitting himself into all those different aspects. Then in the clip, they have this big attack with Gargantos, Doctor Strange going to rescue America Chavez, and her explaining the multiverse to him earlier in the movie. The nightmares that he's having are actually the scenes that you see Defender Strange and America Chavez running from this big creature that's being controlled by Scarlet Witch with the chaos magic and the runes. They try to escape through this space where they're keeping the Book of the Vishanti, and then he basically looks at her like, look kid, you gotta escape. But while that's happening, our MCU Doctor Strange thinks that it's just a dream that he's having and it's not real. He doesn't know that it's actually real. He winds up going to MCU Christine Palmer's wedding, which is happening at the beginning of the movie. And during the wedding, that's when Gargantos attacks. So like you see all the people in the wedding rushing outside to the chaos in the street, just seeing what's going on. And as you see during the clip, Gargantos is invisible, but he's destroying the bus, trying to get America Chavez, who's inside of it. I've actually been able to confirm that the number on top of the bus is a reference to the comic book version of Infinity War, which is obviously different from the movie version, but it's just another callback to Infinity War. Now, like I said, he does look more like a version of Shumagorath, but because that belongs to the Conan IP and Marvel doesn't have rights to that right now, they can't use the Shumagorath name, so they're just calling him Gargantos. If this really were Shumagorath, he wouldn't be able to kill him that fast. He's like this god-tier being. He's a big cosmic level character from between dimensions. This is where we get into the CinemaCon footage. They just had like a tiny bit extra that kind of explains her arc during the movie and what's happening with some of these other Doctor Strange variants. So the way they said that they're using her in the movie is that America Chavez basically explains that she is from the multiverse. She was born in the universe that Defender Strange came from. Like, that's her original universe. She knew that version of Doctor Strange. She doesn't totally understand how to use her powers yet, but she can punch holes through different universes in different dimensions. Our Doctor Strange says that he had a dream about her in another version of Doctor Strange earlier in the movie, and she says, no, that actually did happen. Dreams are supposed to be windows to alternate universes. And that version of Defender Strange was actually getting ready to sacrifice her for the good of his universe until there was a change of heart at the end. Then right after she tells Doctor Strange dreams are the windows to alternate universes, the stuff that you saw actually happened, we actually see MCU Scarlet Witch in a version of Westview with a version of Billy and Tommy, and it's this scene with her in the black, but then we see her wake up. It was just a dream, but because of what we just saw happen with America Chavez, we know that she was actually witnessing the events of an alternate universe, seeing a real version of Billy and Tommy. But remember, her body is stuck in the MCU, so she was just seeing across universes. She wasn't literally traveling across universes yet. America Chavez explains that someone is trying to capture her and force her to open portals to alternate universes. So obviously that's the connection to why MCU Scarlet Witch is doing this. But if you spotted any other big Easter eggs in the new footage that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. Like I said, my non-spoilery review will probably post Tuesday morning. Make sure you enable alerts for that so you don't miss that. I'll name a giveaway winner in my next big video too. I'll post my full breakdowns, Easter eggs, everything from the movie post-credit scene videos later in the week after it actually comes out in theaters. Make sure you go see this movie as soon as possible because it looks like it is going to be crazy in the best possible way. Everyone click here for my full Moon Knight Episode 5 video and Easter eggs, and click here for my Doctor Strange 2 Living Tribunal video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.